as many points as when they were struggling to get results, but now they're running into form. And so yeah, we're familiar with them. They're familiar with us. So I don't know if there's any advantage or disadvantage because we've both seen it pretty close up.
And we've seen Ibrahim now for a couple of weeks. Him and Corey seem to be kind of wingers or could play strikers. Do you see either of them as a specific position, or are they kind of fluid with where they can play up front?
They're both fluid.
And just last one for me, Daniel Stairs, we haven't seen the last two games. Do you have any update, injury or anything with him?
He is getting there, so we'll figure out. But he's he picked up a knock in the last game.
Thanks, Ben.
Up next, we'll go with Joey. Go ahead.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Joey.
So now with Chase Gaspar and Brad Smith getting back into the team, what do you think each of them offers differently from each other?
Well, they're both left-footed, so that's it's always nice to have lefties around. One is both of them have the ability to join the attack. I would say Brad maybe more so than Chase, and I would say Chase is more of a stay-at-home / center back, building left back than when you compare them to Brad. So they are different. And so depending on game situations, if you're dealing with service and depending on the profile player that they're going against on the wings, or how we want to shape up a building, they offer different attributes to the match. But so it's nice to kind of have that versatility. The trick with both of them right now is to get more games for them and more time so they can continue to build rhythm. Brad's obviously been out for 8 months with the ACL, and that takes quite a while to get back from. And Chase has been healthy, but he's also been out for 6, 7, 8 months of regular soccer. LA wasn't, he wasn't seeing the time that he needed. So he's also kind of still coming back from not necessarily injury, but some a longer layoff of first team soccer. So we just got to keep finding them ways to get games, and each time we do, they improve. The connections, the rhythm, the coordination, all that stuff, the speed, timing, all those things. You need games to get that back, and during a long stretch here with a lot of games, we should have the opportunity to get them some minutes.
And then with Corey, he struggled to score a lot early in this season, but now that he's finally got his goals, is there a bit more pressure on him to keep that up going forward?
I don't know. I think these guys put pressure on themselves, or they should put some pressure on themselves every day, and certainly in the games if they're in goal scoring positions to score goals. I think that's healthy. So I don't know if it puts pressure on them or takes a little bit off of them, because I'm sure when you don't score game after game, I'm sure that's the real pressure. When you touch the net, it's probably taking a little bit of pressure off him, which usually means you can score more goals when you get these chances. So that's the hope. Just in general, last game, even though we take it with a grain of salt, that it was nice to hit the net a few times and at a run of play and build. But again, we understand it was a red card, but even when it was 11v11, thought some of the attacks were getting better, utilizing the width in a more dangerous way, spacing. So hopefully we can continue some of that offensive prowess with keeping our defensive structure and being still tough to break down.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Up next, we'll go with Victor. Go ahead.
Hey Ben,
Hey,
with
Victor.
the with the new name to the stadium and then the early success. I don't know if you've heard the nickname already. Hell in a Shell is what fans are calling it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, just kind of want to get your thoughts on it. It would have been some of the things you've taken away from this home stretch, and obviously the good results that you guys have enjoyed there.
Yeah, it's not, we talked about it, Victor, you and I early in the season about that being a real emphasis for this team and the staff and our bosses to take care of the home games for a bunch of different reasons. One, it's get you into the playoffs if you do really well there. It invigorates a fan base that that is paying hard money, their hard-earned money to come watch you guys play. So you entertain and also send them home happy. That's an important part of this. So there's a bunch of factors, and I think the ownership put a lot of money into this as well to create a better atmosphere, make it a more comfortable atmosphere, and our job is to make sure we're entertaining and sending them home happy. So that's it's a win-win all around if you can take care of your home results, and the energy's been really good. We always want more. We always want more energy. We're always selfish with that stuff. We want more butts in the seat, and we want it louder and to create that kind of hell in a shell. I love it. But the home support has been great, and there's nothing that makes me and I think the fans or our players happier than going there after a win and celebrating down in the end zone with those fans. It's a special part of the organization and the fans connecting. Hopefully we can have more of that.
And I know you guys don't need more motivation, but do you sense a different spark in training this week with this rivalry game coming up?
Yep. I think you saw it with Dallas, and we also see it with Houston, with Austin. The Texas Derby stuff is real, and I'm seeing it for the first time through this kind of through this period of the season. But yeah, I see it. You see it with the staff. Everybody just has a little bit more energy and focus around these games, and that's nice. That's what they're about. And there's a level of respect as well to what Austin's been able to do in particular last year, and the quality that they bring to the table, both so individually, but even more so collectively. Again, I got a lot of respect for Josh Wolf. We've played together under 20s, the Olympics, the World Cup. We've shared a lot of wonderful soccer experiences together. And now we get to kind of coach against each other, which is great. Two competitive guys and looking to outdo each other. It's always, again, special for me particular as well.
Last one, you guys do your own scouting on the team, but just having a former member of theirs, Andrew Tarbell, on the squad, does that help anything this week?
Maybe. No, Andrew knows that team very well. I know that team very well. We all know Austin and what they do. And again, it doesn't make it easy. It's very, very difficult to deal with them and press them, and the way they come out and hit the other side, overloads. The service is good, back stick. They are again well coached. The players are clear on what they do, and they do it well. So Andrew does, again, we know it. Andrew knows it. Again, doesn't make it easier.
Thanks, Ben. Best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll wrap up here with Manuel. Manuel, go ahead.
Hey Ben,
Hey, Manuel.
I know jokingly you talked about last game about having Austin as your next round for the round of the quarterfinals. knowing that I know we're focusing on Austin, but how is the matchup with your next round with Chicago for the U.S. Open Cup? I know it's in a couple of weeks, but how do you feel about the draw?
It's what it is, and you take what's next. We haven't had the second that game's over, we're continuing to dive into Austin, and all focus comes on this weekend. So we know, I watched the game, and so I know them enough but we haven't done a real deep dive on them at this point, but we certainly will, and we'll prepare for them when that time comes. But the storied club, I know Chicago well from my DC United days, playing them constantly, and having always a little bit of a rivalry there from the beginning of the beginning of the league, even when those great teams that used to win the Open Cup and MLS Cups with Zach Thornton and Chris Armas and Jesse Marsh, Peter Novak. Those were some really special teams early in the MLS. So they got a rich culture there. They're in a interesting place too, and they're not similar place to us in some ways, and kind of a storied club that has a great past, looking to kind of invigorate the fans, and some of that, some of those trophy winning ways, and so trying to kind of reinvent ourselves a little bit, and I think they're in that mode too. And got Frankie Klopas in there again, who is a legend there, and so looking forward to it, but not on my brain right now.
I know tomorrow's the most important one. And
Yeah,
last one
that's
for me. Last one for me. Today the club announced the loan for Beto Avila. What do you hope for him on this loan for his improvement on his career?
Goals. That's his job. Go down there and score goals, and obviously fit in with the group, and whatever the coach system looks like, adapt to that, but score goals. It's a great opportunity for him.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be right back with Dynamo 2 head coach Kenny Bundy. Good. All right, everyone, we're joined by Dynamo 2 head coach Kenny Bundy. Kenny, another in-state rival this weekend, this time at home though. What do you guys expect from Austin aside you guys opened the year against?
Yeah, it's the first time that we've had a team that we've played prior. So I think, there's a little bit more information in the two groups. I think number one, it's a team that sits really high in the table. So they're going to come in after maybe a result that was unfair last week. They're going to come in ready to go and want to make up those points. So really excited about it. Excited for the opportunity to be back at home. I think the support's going to be unreal. I think from both clubs, there's going to be a number of supporters out there. So really excited to get started.
Thank you for that. We'll start with Joey. Go ahead.
Hey, Kenny.
Hey,
With Beto Avila going out on loan, what players are going to be looking to take over his production?
yeah, well, we've seen a decent amount of number 9s this year. Obviously with, players moving up and down, but you can see Zeke Soto coming along. He's a guy that, we've brought up from the academy, under 17 national team player. Joe Feruz is a college bound guy for us, but he stepped in and started against North Texas. And then we have a couple other players that can play that position. There's even some younger guys in the academy that are really doing well in that league that we're going to start drip feeding into training. David Garcia is one with the under 15s. And that spot is really a competitive one because to play the number 9 position, especially at this level, you have to be ready for that opportunity. So we'll see a number of those players play that position.
And even though it's for only 45 minutes, how much does partnering alongside a veteran like Sviatchenko help out Talon Maples?
Yeah, I think you really get a sense of, what it means when you see the communication between those guys. I think it's huge. I think Talon, this is an opportunity, he's been waiting for a long time, not only with this club, but obviously at his prior club. I think there's always nerves that go into that because when you're thrown into an opportunity like that and you're younger and maybe you haven't been waiting as long, it can be a bit different. But I could see the nerves in the first 45 minutes from Talon. I thought he grew into the game, and obviously the situations in the game played a big factor into that as well in the second half. But I'm just really proud of those guys that they're helping Ben and his staff get results. And that's the ultimate goal, is that when these guys step on the field for the first team, be it an Open Cup game, be it a game like Mikhail is played significant for the first team in the regular season, that they're ready to contribute and they're ready to win games for them. So the sense of pride that I have is, it's almost a check mark for us as a staff with Dynamo 2, where we always know there's a lot of work to do, and we always know that we're closing the gap. We're not completely preparing someone for the first team, but we're closing that gap so that when they get that opportunity, they can go out and get points.
And with the Dynamo, when they're up 4-0 and cruising, do you ever wish there was a few more of your guys on the bench in that game to get a good opportunity?
To be honest with you, when we're up 4-0, I'm enjoying the moment. I think those are so few and far between in the MLS. For me, I just talked about this today. Those games when every Dynamo game, I'm on the edge of my seat. Every Dynamo game, I want a result in every Dynamo game. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the under 13s or it's the first team. I want a result, and I know a lot of factors play into that. But I think to see some of those guys on the field, there's a sense of they're almost like your kids. And I'd even go as far as to say to see Baird break out and have 3 goals and an assist. I know Corey well. I had a little bit of time to work with him, but to see him do that, I'm just as proud. So I don't do a lot of what ifs or, I wish this. I just want the result to happen. I want the staff to be happy with what contribution the players that work with us with Dynamo 2 have. And then we just want to continue in a tournament like the Open Cup.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck Sunday.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll go with Dustin. Go ahead.
Hey, Kenny.
Hey,
We've seen Yair kind of getting some more minutes, getting more comfortable. What have you seen just from his development this season?
yeah, what a goal he scored off that free kick. It's funny. We implemented that in Dallas the day before on Saturday. And we talked to him a little bit about his ability to score that goal. And I wish I could do a side-by-side clip of the shot he had in training and the shot he had in the goal, because they're polar opposite. You know, he's got such an ability to learn. And, you know, the great thing about Yair is he's a winner. He's a grinder. Like, he understands what it takes to be in a professional club and in a professional environment, and how hard opportunities are to come by. And he's just a great guy. Like, you know, I almost say kid because, you know, again, I laugh at these guys. Maybe that speaks about my sense of humor, but he's just such a good person to be around. And we knew when he came in, there was some physical things he was going to need to work towards, you know, obviously the fitness, the strength that it's going to take to play in this league. And we've worked really hard with him. You know, he's had a couple setbacks as far as just minor little dings. But on the ball, his ability to receive longer passes within his stride, the threat that he is when he cuts back on his right foot, it's just he's such a good player. And we're building him towards being able to repeat that weekly for 90 minutes. And it's a process. But I was really happy for him to have scored his goal. You know, we score the second goal, we're celebrating on the sideline, and I turn around and here comes Yair screaming in my face, and he jumps on me, and it's not cool in Dallas. So it's like a sweaty kid jumping on you, and you're like, you're so happy, but that's what it means to him. And he's embraced what it means to be here with the Dynamo and what we're trying to go after throughout this entire club. So it speaks volumes of how professional he is, but also how much he's bought into this opportunity.
And you mentioned after the game, you know, the result that's why you guys grind, you fight, the emotions, the suffering. You know, for these younger players that you coach at Dynamo 2, is that something that, you know, they kind of learn as they go? Is that something you can coach into them? Just kind of talk a little bit about just like how those emotions and things from a derby win like that.
Yeah, it is something you can coach into them. I think I don't necessarily like the term lead by example, because I think everybody should be trying to set an example for themselves and being their best. But it's why we're very picky about the staff that we bring in and the staff that's around these players, because they need to know that grind that they're going through, the ups and downs, the emotional toll being a professional in this environment takes on you, that when you get an opportunity to have games like that, when you are competing at a high level, when you endure that stress level, you need to enjoy the moments that go your way. Results are a fickle thing, and we've seen that this year. You can play really well, you can create a number of chances, and you can lose a game. We saw it last year. You can not play very well and still win a game. But teaching the balance between when to celebrate and when to grind, and how long do you get to celebrate, how much can you lean on past results, those are all things you need to learn, that players need to learn. I just wanted them to enjoy that moment, because it's something that it means a lot. And, you know, it goes as far as to say, okay, the 4-0 Open Cup victory, like, you know, I went back afterward and I'm just congratulating the players as they're walking out of the tunnel, and you can see they do it for that smile on their face, that feeling. And the great thing is about this sport is that feeling lasts that night, and then you're back at it the next day. So you don't get, you know, a month of feeling, oh, it's great, I did well. It's literally maybe 6 to 12 hours, and then you're back in the grind and you're back focusing on the next one. But I do think it is something you can teach, and that competitiveness is what's really important. That feeling and wanting that feeling over and over again is why we do it. It's really the bottom line. You want to feel like that after every game, knowing that you're not going to, but that's why you push as hard as you do.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll wrap up here with Manuel. Go ahead.
Hey, Kenny.
Hey,
Just want to get your thought on something. Knowing your role here is to help the players, as you mentioned, time and time again, help the players not just to get results, but to jumpstart their careers as professional. I don't know if you've noticed teams like LAFC, you know, that have a busy schedule. You see the opportunities that their second team are having across the many competitions they're having. Is that a model or something that maybe you are motivating the players? Like, this is not just a game that we're just preparing for today, but preparing for not just right now, but for future support for the first team.
yeah. If I understand the question correctly, you know, Tate Lampman starts for the first time at North Texas, right? And Tate is very, very, very new to his professional career. That game for Tate Lampman is the biggest game he's ever played. It's the most pressure he's ever been under. It's probably the highest stress level he's ever had playing the game. Preparing Tate Lampman for that game and preparing Jacob Evans for that game is completely different, right? And you're trying to encourage one to have to take a game over and be a leader, and you're talking to another about being himself, being confident, you know, understanding that mistakes are going to happen, but what makes you a player is your reaction to mistakes, not the mistake. And I think that in turn, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think we have to have this weird vision where our vision has to be focused on day to day first, week to week next. And then we almost have to project what might happen over the next 6 months, year, month. We don't know. And so when I talk about preparing guys for opportunities, it's not just this blanket that you throw over the whole group. It's so individual. It's a little scary. You have to make sure that you understand. First of all, we have to understand the players as a staff, and we have to understand what makes them tick. We have to know, you know, where they are mentally, where they are physically, where they are tactically, technically. But we have to be able to speak to them on a daily basis that puts them in the best position. So what we're seeing is, you know, in this league, and especially in Next Pro, a lot of players for a lot of teams are being leaned on in different moments in the season. And it speaks volumes of what the staffs are doing in Next Pro, because I'm sorry, I don't think a lot of these guys would be ready for any club if the Next Pro staffs weren't really focused on what happens every day, what happens every week, but then projecting potential opportunities for these guys a year out, 6 months out, 3 months out. So I'm really happy with seeing all of these players playing in really important games for clubs for their first teams. So you know, it's a tall task, and you know, it's something that I think we have to focus on daily as a staff, is making sure that we're dialed in on how we're preparing these players.
Thanks, Kenny. That actually responded perfectly. Thank you, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll close with that one. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
We'll
you.
have video resources available later today. Kenny? Yes.